We're back with another episode of Inside the Circle. It's day 8, it's the last day of the group games. Let's have a recap and see what happened.
Welcome everybody to the day 8 recap of the Inside the Circle. You're joined once again, who hasn't abandoned me today, by Alan. Now Alan, how was your day in Paris?
My day was fine, and apologies for not being there, but a guy called Macron or something was entertaining us for a while last night, so I couldn't be with you. Was it the road cycling today? Gee whiz, that caused some chaos around Paris, just trying to get anywhere, but it was really good. The speed of those guys, and they're just so close to the crash barriers. It's a bit of a frightening one, really. They just take their life in their hands. I mean, you see the accidents on the Tour de France and different things they got there, but this was brutal.
And I believe was it a Belgian that one had to change his bike,
puncture
less than a kilometer away from the finish line.
So
it was all happening.
It really was. It was all happening, as you say.
Which probably leads quite nicely onto the game that you're about to recap, the China-France game. I think we're going back to front today on the games, but China-France.
It was high scoring.
Yes.
Lots of circle penetrations for China. China won 7-1
right.
against France. I have to feel sorry for France. They did so well, and they've done so well in the tournament, but really have just, I think this was maybe a game too far for them, maybe. I just don't know. But look, it was really good attacking pressure from France at the start. China got the first goal from Li Hong. He miles of space and popped it in. The goal forced more China pressure in the first quarter, and that's how it really finished. It wasn't a bad quarter at all. Then in the China scored the second goal from a penalty corner, flick deflection by Chen Yang. It was a super deflection, really good, and it sort of summed the way the game was going. But France came back. They had a small period of pressure and play, got a crash ball into the circle, brilliant deflection, and I think it was a touch by De La Mesure. Apologies if I didn't just quite get that right. But very, very quickly on, then China scored their third from a rebound penalty corner. Again, Li Hong was involved in that, and you could then just start seeing things weren't going well. France, they went up the pitch, hit the post, but they were just struggling at times. Their goalkeeper made some great saves, and has to be commended for a great tournament for her. She really did have a really good tournament, and as I said, for the host nation, they had to be there, and they put on a great performance. France then went up, as I said, after hitting the post, some good saves from the keeper from some short corners and different things. Then really after half-time, it sort of France just started to really wilt. China scored their fourth, again another flick from a penalty corner, and then sort of they were awarded a stroke, a pretty strong stroke really, and then into the fourth quarter they scored their sixth, cross into the circle, deflection, reverse stick in by Dan Wen, and then to finish it all off, their seventh goal, baseline, finished Chen Yang and flicked over, a low flick over the goalkeeper, and it was just, it was a bit sort of one-sided, as I said. The circle penetrations for China were 37 to France's 5, so probably on ratio, it was about even from a ratio point of view. Possession 57 to 43. I am convinced, Sam, that these possession things aren't. We've referred to them every single match, but it hasn't really. It's not really the right possessions. It can't be. And as I said, maybe looking at possession in your own defensive quarter, the middle of the pitch, the middle 2 quarters, and then the last one would be a better, truer reflection on possession.
Because
a team could be just sitting there, just pinging the ball back and forth, and really wouldn't sort of, the figures are a bit distorted. Look,
Yeah.
China showed their domination throughout. They took their chances when they needed to. France were disappointing at the end. They just slipped away. But should be proud. Look, they need to be proud of the achievement. I think they've done a great job and at their home Olympics. Like a lot of French athletes have risen that little bit more. I don't think France were ever going to get any sort of medal. For me, France goalkeeper player of the match. She saved 11 open play attempts and 7 penalty corner attempts. Now that's really good defensive play from her.
Yeah.
And as I say, hats or beret off to her. She really did play very, very well. You then had an interesting Germany-Belgium match.
Yes.
Later on in the day as well.
This was the last game of the day, and it ended up 2-0 to Belgium. Now, that probably wasn't the result I thought was going to happen. I thought Germany might have nicked this just with the strength. Now, looking at it, Germany and Belgium had already qualified at this point. So it was probably more pressure on Belgium because if they got a good result, it put them into second in the group, which gives them a slightly easier than quarterfinal going into Monday. But really good play from the Belgian goalkeeper again. Some really good early penalty corner saves, and that was from a really strong German short corner variation, like they often do, throw one in. It was definitely well worked and even better save. Right from the offset, Germany started with this sort of tough and physical sort of defensive play. Now, it was perfectly legal. Everything was just a lot stronger and a bit more, I'll leave my shoulder in, would have made the tackle, but not anything too major.
Yeah.
Again, knowing that both teams are through, there's no point injuring anyone, really, going into the slightly more important games. Belgium did score first, with the penalty corner rebound, slapped past the goalkeeper, and again, let me try and pronounce this, from Struijk. Really strong reverse, rebound slap, past the goalkeeper. Going into quarter two, Belgium scored their second. It was a strong goal, by the number 30. Belongian, again, forgive me if I pronounce that wrong, but actually this is her 6th goal of the games, so she's right up there for the women's and top goal scorer, actually along with Lorenz from Germany, and all her goals, I believe, have come from open play, which is more impressive when you look at the other goal scorers in that sort of
Yippee Jensen and co just drag flicking.
Yeah, so really impressive. Germany at this point really didn't, like, they were all over the place. That wasn't the usual German structure that we're used to. They really were, I don't know if they're trying something slightly different, but they just weren't playing their usual style, and it definitely showed. At halftime, Germany had 2 circle attempts, 2 circle entries for attacking play. Belgium had 15. That's the sway that there definitely was in that first quarter. Again, going into the third quarter, and really throughout the third quarter, it was the same as the first half. Huge Belgian pressure in their attack. Equally, when Germany had the ball, they were pressing them really hard and deep. Once again, some really good saves by the Belgian goalkeeper, and critical saves at this point to ensure that Belgium lead stayed. Fourth quarter, Belgium missed a one-on-one chance. It was a good save, but a poor finish as well. And I think if Belgium got that, it definitely would have sealed the deal for them, because after this point, Germany pulled their keeper with 7 minutes to go. So they were, wow, 7 minutes. The biggest time difference that I've seen so far. And I think at that point they were realizing, actually, we need to try and get reputation back, maybe more than anything else. So they really pushed hard. Belgium win a penalty corner fairly quickly after the keeper went off.
Oh no!
It was saved by Lorenz, the captain, saved off the line. Belgium went for a slightly more sweep finish, but a slight bobble to it, and she picked it beautifully from the middle of the net. Really, really impressive. Then Belgium got a yellow card for 10 minutes. They weren't 5. They'd done this a couple of times, so got a 10-minute yellow. So that meant that Germany were 2 players to the good over Belgium.
Wow, yeah, of course.
Yeah, but Belgian goalkeeper again, saving brilliant penalty corners, clearing them well of the D. The rebound from her kickers and leg guards was clearing them out of the D and out of the 25, relieving that pressure. German had some of the penalty corners that Germany had were goals, but they were either hit too high or something else happened that meant that it was a free out. Nothing was just going their way in that final quarter when they were pushing hard. I think Belgium played like how they've been doing throughout the games, but have gradually got better and better and better. So it's really impressive to see how they've done that through the games. It'll be interesting to see how they perform then in the knockout stages on Monday. Now, like I said, Germany had already qualified, but I don't know if this result or performance is going to maybe set them back a bit. I know they were quite consistent through the group games, but we'll see how that sort of affects them going into the qualifying or the quarter-final matches.
Yeah, as you say, it's interesting. I mean, you probably would have expected maybe a draw or a low German win in that one. Now, again, maybe Germany are playing the tactics and going, right, let's just ease it off. We've qualified. Absolutely. They'll have worked out the permutations. At the end of the day, you've got to beat the best teams to get there. So they maybe make that choice. But who knows?
Absolutely. You had probably another interesting game. Australia-Spain next.
Yeah. Australia 3, Spain 1. It probably went to the book, really. Yeah. The only thing was, again, here we go. Spain had 57% to Australia's 43%. Watching it, that doesn't sit right. Yes, they had a good bit more, or maybe not a good bit more, but they had a little bit more pressure, but it wasn't a noticeable they're way ahead on this at all. Look, first quarter, Australia scored a really early goal by Arnott. It just literally just past the keeper and 1-0 really quickly. Australia continued into the second quarter with some pressure. And Spain sort of had a few attacking chances, and this is what I mean by the percentages here. They had a few, but not Australia were still in charge of this game. Australia then got a goal disallowed. The ball came off Arnott's foot, and again, I think we saw this in one of the other matches. I think it was one of the GB girls into the circle and just kick the ball away. It's nearly like I've got too much time and everything else. So halftime it was 1-0, and yes, it was all to play for a little bit, but you can't write Australia off at all. No. Spain obviously got a bit of a rollicking and came out and put a lot more pressure on Australia. I think maybe Australia took the foot off the gas a bit. But look, they defended perfectly. It was just good defending all round. Yes. Australian goalkeeper made some really good, solid saves. And yes, I'm an ex-goalkeeper, and we've talked about goalkeepers a lot. I think they are such a key part of any sort of match, and even just counterattacks and different things. We've seen a few counterattacks off foam pads, kickers, kicks. And things like that there. Look, Spain then up the far end and got a stroke for a brutal stick tackle, which was scored by Pereira. They deserved the goal because of that period of time and the bit of pressure that they put on them. So, quarter 3, it's 1-1. And then Australia in the fourth quarter get a penalty corner. Scored by Kershaw, deflecting the ball over the net. Spain then pulled their goalkeeper. We're not 7 minutes into a game, but
no, definitely not.
they pull their goalkeeper. Australia win the ball down the far end and score an open play goal by Nobbs. And really, Spain were on their last legs right at the very end. They were just, you could see, like today was weather-wise, was a people said this was the ideal day for for playing outside and the cycling event and everything else. There was a nice cool breeze. The sun never really got out for any length of period of time, and it was just a nice, pleasant day. So it I think it was just the physicality of the last couple of days and the pressure that they put on them.
Yeah.
So you had, I'm not even going to say an interesting one because I had one the other day. USA, South Africa.
Yes, I watched it, and it was a hockey match. Let's put it that way. It ended up being 1-0 to the US. Again, 52% of the possession to South Africa's 48. USA actually only had 10 circle entries. South Africa had 18.
Wow.
So they just couldn't finish the ball. And that was the theme throughout the match every time South Africa had the ball. Yes, they threatened, but everyone knew once they got to the D, nothing maybe was going to happen, even from their short corners, the couple that they did have. Like going into the first quarter, it was fairly even from both sides. And then the USA just a bit more pressure, just building it up as they went, and more meaningful possession over the South Africans. Again, going into quarter two, they just camped. The US camped in South Africa's half. The South Africans were sort of establishing breakaway threats every so often, and I think that's what led to their attacks not being that meaningful getting to the end. It stayed like that for the first half. Going into quarter three, far better pressure from the South Africans. And actually, it was very funny at this point. The South African keeper is wearing the white ABS Obo helmet.
Yes, I saw that. Yeah.
Really bright. You can see it. It's great. But due to the logo laws of the Olympics, they've just got a big Sharpie marker and scribbled out Obo here and at the sides. So it's really funny if you look at it. You just got these big marker marks and 3 points of the helmet where they've tried to cover up where it says Obo. It's very funny to see this really crisp white ABS helmet with just big massive markers all over it. It's like a kid's just gone, I'm going to color this in.
I'm sure, because those are just decals. They should have been able to get a blade and pick them off, but you never know. It could have been a last minute. That's what it is. I mean, you do know that at the Olympics, there is a guy at every venue that has every single different color of tape to try and match as best as possible. Now, it's more for tracksuit tops, for medal presentation. Yes. He has got this nice purple top. He would have a tape really, really close to it. I mean, these guys are at every single venue. They're just covering logos off. They're the logo police, they're called. Even go into the toilets inside, as in back of house for athletes, and they've put a white sticker over where it says, I'm going to say Dyson or Hoover or whatever else, over the hand dryer. Like, the public can't see it. I mean, it's that strict. Sorry, but I digress. Sorry.
Yeah, so it was very funny to see that. Though after that, the US got their goal. It was a really, really well worked deflection from shoulder. It was a penalty corner flick by Jaeger, and it was a great, just on the reverse into the net. It was great to see, and really, this was 43 minutes in, by the way, so it was scoreless up until the 43rd minute. Just putting that out there. And then after that, really until the end of the game and into the fourth quarter, it was just back and forth play. I think the US were going, right, we are now defending this lead. We're getting this win. Which, yes, I think they deserved. They played well through the games. They were a bit unlucky with some bits and pieces, but South Africans pulled their keeper with about 2 minutes 50 to go, but nothing really happened from it from either side. Like I said, the US got the ball and tried to keep possession of it, while the South Africans were getting the ball and trying to do something with it. I think really the US just had more meaningful attacking pressure throughout. They absolutely failed to convert some of their chances. South Africa absolutely failed to convert a lot of their chances. I mean, like I said, they had 18 circle entries and nothing came of really anything. again, they'll be disappointed with that lack of finishing in the end. But yes, out of the day, that was the weakest game, I think, because of the nature of it. Both teams wanted a win, but then once the goal came for the US, it was like, right, we're keeping this goal. We're not letting this slip away from us. And I think that's really what, if South Africa scored, that was exactly what was going to happen. If when the US scored, that's exactly what happened, really.
Yeah.
So it was good to see that the US got their win in the end. I think they're a team that's definitely, as you can see, building through, a bit like the Belgian women's team. They're probably a cycle behind, maybe.
Yes. Yeah.
I know I've heard interviews and stuff from the US team saying they're probably more targeting the LA games, knowing the fact that they've
qualified and they're through.
Like here, so they focus all efforts into it. So I think they're probably looking ahead. It is quite a young team, so probably once LA hits, they'll be a wee bit stronger, and who knows what could happen with them there.
Yeah.
You had the first game of the day.
So I will be honest here and say this was definitely a game of two halves in two ways. One, for match play, and two, my ability to actually get to watch this game. I did watch the first half and then had to leave to get on site where I am based, and then watched the second half and went, oh my goodness, what happened here?
Yeah.
Really. So look, GB had early pressure right at the start. We knew the score. Argentina won 3-0. It was a real disappointing result when it's sort of flicked it on and went, oh no, because I really thought GB did really well in the first half. It was reasonably even the whole way through. GB they got a couple of penalty corners. French put the ball wide in the first quarter. The GB got pressure, attacked with speed, but they didn't really come up with anything. And both teams didn't come up with a great deal, I felt, in that first sort of quarter. Argentina's number one runner took a brave run down at one of the GB girls' penalty corners, and the shot looked like and sounded like it actually hit the backboard, but actually hit the post and literally ran right across the goal mouth, and everybody missed it. But that was sort of, in hindsight, you're going, oh dear, this could be an issue. Second half, the second quarter, GB's straight down to GB's French. She was sent off for a few minutes on a green card, and Argentina continued to put the pressure on, and Argentina's they just were putting the pressure on. Gordonelli tried to score a couple of times, but Pritchard in goal for GB had a quite a good quarter. And there was a period there she made about 6 or 7 saves in one play, right in that second quarter. But GB's final passes just didn't make it to the stick. Once you start to look at it, it was just not making it. There was a couple of shots that, if the ball was hit in the right position, taken on the reverse and brought into the circle, it could have been more opportunities for GB. But look, 45 seconds to go. Again, Argentina got another one, and the ball was just put wide. 45% GB at halftime to 55. Circle penetrations, GB 10 to Argentina's 8. So it was evens enough in that first bit. But then GB then started the second half again. Another card here, but this time for hard and a yellow one. And she knocked the ball away after the whistle had gone. It seems to be the standard sort of card nowadays. I mean, it really is now that sort of professional foul, maybe, that people sort of through the stick and everything else they got there. Look, Argentina scored to make it 1-0, crash ball into the circle, and deflection for Rapsol, and just deflection in, so 1-0, and the second goal was quite quick afterwards, reverse stick hit, tight angle, and 2-0.
think that was
G-
Albatero, I think.
I
got
think
that
it's
goal.
Albatero.
Yeah.
And but GB continued to attack and kept going into the fourth quarter. GB were strong again. They just kept at it, but Argentina scored their third goal by Diaz, reverse stick into the corner. The BBC called this the Messi goal. This was a reverse stick hit literally in a postage stamp.
Oh,
There's
yeah,
a photograph
it was right in there.
of the goalkeeper's save. It was just perfect. It would nearly remind you of the early days of the reverse stick hit, where people just hit the ball and hoped it went somewhere. And if it went into the roof of the net, you were talking about it for weeks.
Yes.
And that was it. And the BBC called it the Messi goal. But look, GB took their goalkeeper off to no effect, really. 3-0 at the end. Circle penetrations, 18 GB to 16 to Argentina. Like the percentages again. Argentina were dominant throughout, and GB's attacks came to nothing. Really, that sums it up. Disappointing, but they're there for another day.
I probably pose a question. Is this, now again, both teams, I think at this point had qualified. Is this we're using this game as a rest game? Are we going to maybe try something different? Because it was sort of like that game felt similar to that Germany game at the end. So it did, in terms of probably looking at it, that probably would have been a GB win in initially looking at it. And then as it went on, you're going, right, it's going to be a draw. And then all of a sudden, Argentina stepped on the gas. Similar to that Germany-Belgium game at the start, I was thinking, Germany have got this. Oh, it's going to be a draw. On Belgium have won.
Yeah. I think if a coach is never going to say, yeah, we'll just take the foot off the gas, don't care, because they'll just look silly that, we lost 3-0 and whatever else. I think these sort of matches, they're a little bit more. I think the teams take the foot off it a bit, and the coaches will probably take it off just to try and protect the players. I think it's a self-preservation sort of game. Get through it. Look, we lost 3-0, but we're all safe and well and ready to. We've now got, like the men had today, they've got a rest day, and that's critical in this. It really is critical for this next one. Otherwise, you're just flogging a dead horse player or a player the whole way through. They need the recovery time. There's very few sports in the Olympics that are playing literally back to back to back in the heat, outside, not in air conditioning, and at a high tempo for 60 minutes plus. Yeah. And it's just one of those things that I think they probably were glad, right, we've qualified. Let's see what happens. As is, halftime, 0-0. Okay, fair enough. All to play for. Argentina then just probably got a few lucky breaks and a beautiful goal. It really was. And just, let's just move on.
Absolutely.
Really. On that, moving on to the next game, Netherlands, Japan.
Yes. It was a win for Netherlands. It was 5-1 against the Japanese. Again, funny possession stats of 56th for the Dutch, 44 for Japan. So maybe probably the biggest of the day in terms of the possession difference. But 36 circle attacking entries for the Dutch and 7 for Japan. So the Dutch were just applying pressure throughout that. Very quickly in the first quarter, Janssen scored. It was a penalty corner. It was a flick. Janssen. Of course, who else would it have been? So quickly get that goal. Japan lose their referral off that because they were checking for a foot. They lost it. Just massive Dutch pressure on Japan, and that was the story throughout the game. Matler for Holland scored their second, again via a penalty corner drag flick, another impressive goal, and then get their third via a scramble, sort of a scramble at the net. It all of a sudden then ended up, and it was Berg who gave the Dutch their third goal. That was all in the first quarter. going into the second quarter, out of nowhere, Japan score a brilliant first time sweep goal. Origawa got the goal. It was brilliant. It was really well worked. Ball came in, and it was a first time sweep. Beat the keeper easily. It was a great goal, and it was a goal that Japan should be proud of. And probably the build up play and the goal is something that they could have done throughout this game and probably throughout all their previous games. If they did that, maybe the results might have been a wee bit closer. Everything was just smothered by the Dutch, though. Anything Japan did, just smothered by Orange. Going into quarter three, that's when the Dutch got their fourth goal, another Matler penalty corner flick. And then the fifth goal came from the fourth quarter. It was an open play hit this time, and it was by Veen. Got the goal in the end. It was just a dominant Dutch performance, smothering any Japanese attacks, and even in their defence, the pressure they were put under was unbelievable. They just showed how in control, and that wasn't even them. I would have said third gear, maybe, and they were just kept the pressure, kept it consistent throughout. There was no too much excess of energy that was probably going to do them harm on the games on Monday. It was just a dominant performance from them.
It's what you expect, and again, it's just the Dutch way. Again, somebody then just on the conversation we've had, well, did the Dutch take the foot off the pressure? Did they need the goals for goal difference? Any of that? And it's just their performance. They are just that good, and it's nearly finding it difficult not to score than actually score.
Yeah, and it's interesting. We talked probably from their first game about how all their games that they've just got progressively better and better.
Yeah, so but they were struggling. They were under pressure in matches, and we, as you said, we sort of mentioned that, and now they're getting to the sharp pointy end. They're just getting there.
Yeah, absolutely. Which leads into the sharp pointy end. So the seedings for the quarterfinals are now all confirmed. So the first two is Netherlands GB. That's going to be.
We talked about that in the previous show. Who was teams are trying to avoid the Dutch, and GB haven't made that.
Yeah, so that's going to be an interesting one. Who knows? GB can pull something out of nowhere like they have done previously, but going on the performances of the Dutch on that build, it's going to be a struggle.
Yeah.
Next one along is Argentina, Germany. Again, probably clash of styles. The Argentinians, fast-flowing, Germans, well-structured, good passing.
Methodical.
Yeah, so that could be a really good game. I'll be interested to see sort of what prevails on that. You've then got, in the next groupings, Belgium, Spain.
Ooh.
Yes, that's the upset game, I think.
It could go that way. I am not sure that Belgium will get upset in this one. I think I just think they're a bit like the Dutch, not at the same level, but I think they're just progressively getting better through this tournament.
I totally agree. And then the last one is Australia, China. Again?
Oh, Australia could have a bad day and China have a good day. And
absolutely.
It wouldn't take that much. Now, I don't think so, but again,
if you look at the Chinese performances, they've gradually got better throughout. But again, you can say that for Australia. They've gradually got better throughout. So actually, could be a good clash at the right time for both teams.
Could be. It could be a clash of the yellow tops. I like my China's yellow kit.
So going on probably the rankings of the teams for this. Going into the semi-final, it on paper should be Netherlands v. I think
I'm going to say Germany.
I think Argentina though rank higher
in
terms of world rankings. I'm not sure on that, and I will be told if I'm wrong in the comments. But that's, to me, that's too tight a match to probably call.
Yeah.
So it's Netherlands I think it might be Argentina. I think it might be Argentina if they pull their finger out.
Yeah.
Then it would be Belgium versus Australia. Again, going on world ranking statistics, it would be a Belgium Australia in semi-final 2. Another 2 good games. Like
whatever combination came out of that, to be honest.
Yeah. Where there's no gimmies. Like it's 2 good, 2 good groups of quarterfinals, and be interesting to see what happens. All this happens on Monday the 5th. So again, similar to what's happening on Sunday for the men's, it is just quarterfinal, 1 match after another, and we'll fairly quickly know what's going to happen over the next week, leading towards the finals on Thursday and Friday, I believe.
I think so, yeah. I'm hoping, I'm not hoping, I am aiming to get up early in the morning and up to see GB India.
Yes, that's the first thing of the day, yeah.
Yeah, so I hope to be up there for that myself in person. Looking forward to it. See what'll happen. We talked about 2 different styles. I mean, 2 different. Yeah, But look, it'll be difficult for GB, I think.
Depends how they play. I think it very much depends on how quickly they come out of the blocks is maybe a better way to describe it. They have risked a couple of games in the last quarter. I think if they can bring that last quarter performance of their previous 2 games and bring it in to the start, they'll beat India. If they don't do that and let India get a bit of a head of steam, they might struggle. But it'll be an interesting game, and it'll be good to be there in person. Please take photos.
And I think I might have a catch up with an old friend as well.
Oh, lovely! That would be great.
No surprises.
No, never. Well, Alan, thank you very much again for joining us. I know it's late with you again, but thank you for jumping on the call and not abandoning me. But I'll not hold it against you.
No.
But guys, thank you very much for watching. Please comment as always down below what your day 8 moment was. And please remember, like and subscribe, and you can listen to us on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts if you don't have the time to watch us. But thank you very much for watching, and Alan, thank you, and enjoy tomorrow.
Thanks a lot. See you later. Take care, guys.
Take care now. Bye.
Bye.